Well, I got the rust in the back end of this all fixed up. Now I need to get to this rust up here. I've got some in the floor, up here in the middle, and then 2 spots here in the back. Well, a couple spots here in the back. But both kick panels on both sides. This one here was rusted out pretty bad. Somebody had cut it like they were going to fix it and never did get to it. So I've been saving up pieces of sheet metal panels. This didn't cost me anything but time. So I got this trimmed out where I can set it in here so I can cut out more than enough of this bad metal. When I get this cut out, I need to fix some of the inside splash panel and then the floor. Pretty much, I think, starting right here forward, there's a spot right inside here where these square bodies always rust out. So we will get that fixed, get this fixed, the floor fixed, and that inner panel, some holes in it. Get that inner panel fixed up. That's my goal. We'll attack this and get it done. I have already collected all my pieces that I think I'll need. And hopefully they're big enough. It seems like they are. I kind of laid them out here and had an idea what I could cover. But I need to get this cleaned up. So I'm going to get this cleaned up first with a wire wheel and treat it with some rust reformer. This is stuff I just get from Harbor Freight. I really like it. It works really good. Oh, how about here? Made in the USA. Cool. So anyhow, that's my plan. I got to get this done. I procrastinated long enough. I've been off-roading and working on that, which has been a lot of fun, but I got to get back to business. Now I'm figuring on emptying this whole can on this floor, putting it on as thick and heavy as I can. So this stuff will turn the rust black. That's how I know it's transforming that rust. I'm even spraying the spots that I'm going to cut out. So I will, after I cut out these bad spots, any metal behind it I'm going to try to treat as well, like the braces. Body mount braces and things like that. I will clean it and do everything I can, put some rust treatment on it, and weld through primer just so it's got some sort of a coating on it. But anyhow, that's kind of where we're at here. It's kind of where we're at. I need to jump over and get that side, and we'll get that taken care of. But meanwhile, this side needs to dry before I even start cutting anything out. It'll be all gooey and get it all over me. Okay. Well, I have patch panels here that I salvaged off of a donor rig. To buy one of these panels, they can add up, or buying all these panels, it could add up to quite a bit really fast. So if you have access to a donor, cheap to nothing, then get the pieces you can off of that. But price them out. Some of these parts, panels, are like $15 for a panel, which can add up quickly if you're getting multiple panels, 15 here, 15 there, can add up pretty fast. But your time and whatever it may cost to get a panel off of a donor could add up really fast too, and not save any money if you count your time in. This one here I had access to. It was sitting here at the house, and we're going to take it to salvage. So I cut everything out that I thought I might need for this blazer. Pieces like this are pretty universal, so I managed to take that, and I definitely needed this. And basically, to get that out, if you notice all these holes, I just drilled them out with a drill bit. I have a spot weld drill bit, and it works okay, but by the time you start using it and you end up breaking teeth off and it wobbling around. A drill bit just worked just as fast, and actually probably faster in the long run. So I drilled all these spot welds out. This is the panel for the floor where I had rust down through here, down into this channel. So I got this whole thing. I don't know that I need this whole inner panel, but I made sure and got more than enough. Anytime you have access to a donor rig and you're cutting out pieces, make sure and cut out more than enough. That's your one opportunity to get what you need. Sometimes you might have a 6-inch long hole that you need to cut out. But by the time you get into it and start cleaning it up, you find out that you want to cut 2 or 3 more inches out of each side or all the way around. It's better to have more than enough than not enough. So make sure you cut more than you're going to need for your panels. This one here, it was rusted down, clear down in through here, all the way through. You could see the ground. So I have all of this. I don't know that I'm going to need this piece. I need to get this piece off of this panel, and I certainly don't think I can get this whole piece. This is all one piece, but I don't know that I can get this all in one piece in there until I start cutting out the pieces that are there. So, but anyhow, I have more than enough. I'm going to finish cleaning this up. The spots that I drilled out, I'm going to hit with the flap disc, get this piece off of here. It's spot welded on, and I need to get this lower floor support removed off of here too. I don't know that I'm going to need it, but I have this piece. It could be rusted out in here, but I have it as well. That's why I cut it clear back here. So anyhow, I'm going to clean this up and get it ready to throw on here. I'm trying not to drill all the way through. It happens pretty fast though if you're not careful. If you can help from drilling all the way through, when you go to, like if I need to reuse this panel, this mount, I won't have holes where I need to weld. I'll have actually somewhere to stop the weld. So if you can keep from going all the way through, it's better. Sometimes you can see when you're at that spot where you've separated the panels. Well, good grief. So sometimes you get a guy that was super excited to use a spot welder and did more than enough spot welds. There were actually, should be just like 2. Well, he did those 2 and then he did 3 more. And I just totally missed drilling that one out. Or maybe that should have been the one I drilled out. It's kind of hard to tell. I can straighten that out with hammer and dolly. Not too worried. Same with here. Any distortions I get on here, I can straighten those out, clean them up. I ripped this a bit, getting them apart, but it's really not going to matter. I'll straighten up everything here. I'm probably going to wind up cutting this off right here, right in here somewhere anyhow. So, hopefully. But I'll get this all cleaned up, and as soon as that's dry, we'll tear into it. This panel, I got it big enough to cover all the rust that I wanted to take out of this. I wish, however, I would have had, and I had it, I could have cut this back here into this spot. If I would have cut it up here, this seam would be clear out of the way where it wouldn't be seen. You'd see this little part here, but you could finish that good. This you wouldn't see. Back in here you wouldn't see at all, and I wouldn't have to do metal work right here. So that's something to keep in mind, where you want your joints, your seams. This is going to be fine. Door jamb, it's not going to be obvious. On the outside, this is pretty much all you're going to see, which is okay. And it'll finish up nice. You won't even notice when I'm done. But oh, anyhow, right above this hole, it's right here. It's solid. I was jamming this in there and it wouldn't go through. But I wanted to go beyond where the bad rust is. Obviously, there's bad rust here. I wanted to go beyond that. So about an inch beyond that, I feel safe to have solid metal. I don't know if I'm safe to not have rust in it, but we'll see. But this panel here is actually even an inch further up than that, which is even better. So when I'm fitting a panel, I like to start, like I have a seam right here. I want to start with that seam and line that up. And I drew a line here about where I want to cut this across here. It's not exact, but just an idea. That is actually an inch beyond the line on the body panel. So what I'm going to do is clamp this on here. This is just to kind of hold it in place while I look at it. That should be a little tighter. While I look at that. But what I was thinking about doing was scribing a line here. So I know without a doubt that's where my body panel is. And I'm trying to make that scribe as close to the edge of this panel. So I'll probably just pull this back off, make a nice straight cut to that corner, and scribe that as well. And what I'm looking for here, two things. I want good solid metal to weld to. That way you have good welds. You don't have blow through, or you're less likely to have blow through with solid metal. It's good thick metal. And I want tight seams. Where I butt these up, I want them tight. I don't want it so tight that I have to force it into place. Then probably going to distort panels when they get warm, get hot, stretch. When I go to cut this, I will cut on the inside of that scribe, not to cross that line, because that will give me a tight fit. You want a tight fit, and if it's too tight, then you can always open it up a little bit. If you make it too big, all you can do is fill that, and that makes a lot more heat, a lot more chances to warp something. This panel here, nothing's going to warp. Too many angles, curves. The warp that you could get, the expansion, is not really going to affect anything. If you had a nice big flat body panel and you have a big gap and you're trying to fill that, you will get distortion. Something like this, and even your floor, you don't have to worry about your floor getting distortion. If the floor got really bad, then you get the tin can sound, but all that can be taken care of. These panels, like I was saying, I'm not worried about distortion, but I do want tight seams, always nicer, cleaner looking. So I have my scribe here. I can, at this point, cut that out, and I could actually cut all of it out, actually. I could just trim it off here, cut it along the floor here, take that piece off, clean up what I need to here. I think I will. Come out. Lots of rust in there. Now you can see what I was talking about here, getting back beyond that rust hole. There's still some surface rust there, which I'm not worried about. I'll try to spread some sealer or some rust treatment on there, but I do want to get all this replaced, which I have a piece for that. This here is good and solid. And then it's bad right here, obviously. So this inner piece, I was able to salvage clear up to this seam here. So I might just cut that off right there, all along here, and take this whole piece out. And then I can actually replace all this back into here. I made sure I got enough of that floor. It's every bit of 6 inches long here, so I can cut out the bad floor into this spot and then trim along here. So I might just do that as well, just to get this junk out of the way. Happy with that. And that. I'm really happy with it because I actually think it's tighter than it needs to be, and I can trim it to fit a little tighter. So I'll cut some more of this out and get that out of the way completely. I need to trim along here, just down just a little bit. I will clamp these together and make one cut, and the same here. With the piece still underneath here, it's not letting us sit down the way it should. So I'm a little concerned about cutting that, just cutting it off. I may cut all that off, and that'll let this sit down where it needs to. I'll align this area back here up best I can. Once I get this done, then I can worry about cutting this to sit down flat. There's some weird angles, and you have to take your time. Don't get in a big hurry, cut a whole bunch out. You might have to cut 2 or 3 times and then shave it off with your flat disc or something just to make it fit right. Just don't make your hole too big to put a patch panel in. So I went ahead and cleaned these edges up. They were pretty rough. So what I'm thinking here is I will clamp this in place. There and down here. And then I think I'll scribe these here out. Not here yet, not this part yet, but I will scribe this out, up and down and around, and trim that piece out. That way I can get it out of my way. I can treat that mount underneath there and put a little weld-through primer on it. And then I can actually put this in and fit it a little better if I need to, and tack this into place down to here, and then I can trim this out and tack it as I go, and I should have a good fitment that way. If it's not perfect, this is a good spot for it to not be perfect. You're not going to see, unless you make a really bad mistake here, nobody's going to see it. This is the inner panel. It's this channel that's going to have a rubber seal on it and carpet and a sill plate. And so it'll all be covered. I want to do the best job I can, but if there's any mistakes to be made on it, patch panels, this is the place to make them because nobody is going to see it. So what I'm going to do now is go ahead and scribe that, cut it out, and start fitting this, and then I'll trim this. If I had bought this panel, it's probably going to be rolled back to here. I wouldn't be having to do this funny trim. The cut would be up here, I think. I'd have to look again. But where I'm doing this like I was saying, nobody's going to see any of this. New panel might have actually rolled back into this area, which would have been handy. This is what I have. This is what I'm working with. So I'm going to go ahead and do this here. And just remember, when you cut, remember which side to cut on. We're cutting on the side of that line that the panel's on. And if you might forget, go ahead and just make a mark on the inside. If you cut on the outside, you will make a hole that's much bigger than your panel. So cut on the inside and then trim it as you need it. Well, I went and trimmed all this out. I laid this in, scribed it, cut this out, cleaned up all the edges, the bottom and the top, and cleaned all this up here, this body mount, so I can weld that in there. Now what I'm doing now is just kind of test fitting this. Pretty happy with that. There's a little gap up here. I don't know that I can trim it any particular direction to fit that better. Somehow I just got carried away, probably because this wasn't sitting down flat where it needed to be. Would be my guess. Well, there's a couple spots I'm going to trim up, clean up just a little bit. Don't forget to switch to your welding helmet after you've been doing all the grinding. I've done it several times. Got my face shield on and it feels like a helmet and ah. Okay. Now remember, this is metal. It will bend and flex, so if you got something you don't like, just tap it into place or cut it out and start over. All right, I have the floor tacked in over here. Now I just need to do this side piece. I'm going to start here and cut, tack, tack, cut, tack, tack, cut, tack, tack, all the way down. When I cut these panels like this, I try to put my cutting disc in at an angle, not straight on. If you cut it at an angle, then there's a better chance that you'll actually have a little bit of, not necessarily an overlap, but should be close. My floor's flexing a little bit as I relieved that front piece, so I had to kind of push that down. And I'll probably have to do that all along there. But I'm going to go ahead and cut more. And I'm going to probably cut all the way back to this corner, actually. And then tack it, manipulate things a little bit. All right, so I have it all tacked in. I'm happy with it enough because I want it to look good outside, obviously. But if somebody looks underneath for rust, you want it to look good. And I want it to look good. I'm taking all the rust out. I don't want anybody to feel like I did a hack job on it. I don't think I did a hack job. Anyhow, regardless, I'm going to go ahead and finish this up. Okay, got this welded in. I am going to flap disc that, get it all cleaned up, and then we'll fit this piece on the outside and get it tacked on. It should go on pretty easy. Well, I have a broken bolt here for the seat. I'm going to take care of that. Put a nut on top of that. Just like that. Makes a bolt out of it. Well, I got this inner panel already. I had to put a little extension piece on here because I cut it too short. I got that taken care of. I got all these welds taken care of here. And I'm ready to put this on. Oh, I also put this inner panel in here, this inner piece. I will have a little piece inside right here that I'll have to make when I get this in place, because I need to kind of follow this contour down along here. So I'll make that when I'm ready. I still have to do this patch, but I want to get this in before I do this part here. And I'm not even going to cut that out until I get this in. So there was a couple little rust spots I treated with that rust reformer stuff here. And then I sprayed everything inside, all the surfaces where I'm going to be welding, so that I have some kind of a seal on that bare metal. I used weld through primer. This is a zinc weld through primer. So I put that on there so it's kind of sealed up. Now I'm ready for this. This will take a little bit of manipulating to get it to fit just right. So I'm most likely I will just start on one of these corners like right here and tack it. And then I'll have to push that in right there a little bit. Yep. Okay. Come up here. So my best chance, I think, to getting this all lined up right is to follow this body line right here. That's going to be a real obvious seam if I don't get that right. So I want to line these two corners up, which they look pretty good there. I'll put a tack here and here, and I'll manipulate whatever else I need to get everything else to line up here. So with that being said, can't weld with my glasses on. because I can't see. There, that's much better. I do have a few little spots that have obviously where a seam was or where I did a spot fill. This is okay. Most likely on here I'm going to smear a little filler just to make sure there's no transition here. And that'll take care of all these little divots. I was thinking somewhere I saw a pinhole that I want to take care of, but I'm not sure. If I have a pinhole that goes all the way through, I'll just hit it with a spot weld and take care of that. When I do put a filler on here, I will use a fiberglass reinforced filler. That seems to keep moisture out. Plastic body filler actually is like a sponge. It'll absorb water. That fiberglass stuff will not. So I'll probably use that. I have to get a belt for my little sander, my little belt sander, just to get in here and do this. Well, I picked these up on Amazon. They were $16.99. This is a good assortment. There are 6 different grits here. It's a pretty good deal. I got this, and I've had it for a little while. Got it from Harbor Freight, and I can never find these belts at Harbor Freight, so I just picked some up from Amazon. These. And then, so all I have left really is this spot right here, and that might be the next thing I do. But for now, this was my goal, is getting that piece in. I got her done. I'm gonna call this one quits here. Next week, I'll probably, I don't know, do this spot here. If you have any questions on what I'm doing, why I'm doing it this way, or thoughts about it, just drop me a comment. Appreciate those comments. I like to hear what people are thinking or answer questions. So thanks for watching. We'll catch up with you guys later. Bye.